Hello everyone, and welcome back to a very important episode of High Plains Media News. Today I'm going to be touching on some sensitive topics about something that's been happening across many cities in Texas, and that is the passing of an ordinance called Sanctuary City for the Unborn. This is going to be a big episode with lots to uncover, and I want my viewers to know this is to inform you of current events happening across the High Plains and many other cities in Texas. And it's important to the citizens here, no matter which side you land on. And be sure to stick around to the end, where I got an interview with City of Amarillo Mayor Cole Stanly. Sanctuary City for the Unborn is an ordinance that is being discussed in multiple cities and counties across Texas, initially sounding like a pro-life ordinance seeking to further protect unborn life. That is according to ordinance leaders and political spearhead Mark Lee Dixon. However, Texas is one of the leading states in outlawing abortions. So why does Mark and his supporters think that this ordinance is necessary? Well, that is because this ordinance aims to make it illegal for any resident of Amarillo or any resident of the approved city or county to go get an abortion anywhere. The ordinance also aims to make the use of the roads through that approved city or county illegal to go into other states to get access to abortions or abortion services. This ordinance has already been passed by 69 cities and 8 counties. And I can't name all of them, but I did want to point out the cities of Lubbock, Abilene, and Odessa are among those in Texas who have already passed this ordinance. Mark started this ordinance in East Texas and has even managed to get this ordinance passed within some cities in New Mexico, where abortion services are still currently available. Those cities in New Mexico, again, listed here, that have passed this ordinance are now facing legal backlash from New Mexico's Attorney General. But when it comes to the city of Amarillo, this ordinance has received some pushback, even from those who stand with pro-life policies. And that is because this ordinance has an enforcement method that would allow private civil suits to be filed against a person or party believed to have aided and abetting in receiving abortion services by driving someone or going with someone out of state to receive an abortion. Now, I can understand if the political and law jargon is a little confusing, so allow me to break it down for you. So by most, this ordinance would be enforced by private concerned citizens, not law enforcement officers. If a citizen of that city believed another citizen left the city or state to receive an abortion, a private civil lawsuit could be filed against the mother of the aborted and anyone who assisted them with getting out of state or city for abortion services by making the use of our roads illegal to go out of state to receive an abortion. I hope that cleared it up for everybody. Now, abortion is always a controversial topic to talk about, but what's making this ordinance even more charged and divisive is the private civil enforcement aspect and making the use of public roads illegal for any reason, effectively putting a travel ban on the area. This ordinance also encourages what some are calling a sense of vigilantism, which would sound cool if everybody just started dressing as their favorite superhero. This has some in the community very concerned that at the core of this ordinance is a divisive enforcement method that would further sow mistrust among family and neighbors who would be the ones enforcing the ordinance through private lawsuits. Pro-choice activists and even some within the pro-life community believe that this ordinance supports huge government overreach, is politically divisive for the community, and imposes on constitutional rights. Or, as City of Amarillo Mayor Cole Stanly said,
so you already have the law enacted within the state of Texas, correct? So hang on, Jared John. This here has a gross overreach in some people's opinion. And we've listened to everybody's testimony. We don't have to go back down that road. But this opinion of some, that this is a gross overreach of government, has to do with the fact that it's an unenforceable, uninvestigatable item that you're never going to use this in a court of law. Why is it in this ordinance? And it's going to get us sued, in my opinion. So
And that is why the ordinance was not passed back in December when it was brought forward to council. However, they were told that if they were able to gather enough valid signatures, that the ordinance could be brought back to council, where they would either approve it as it is, amend it, or deny it and send it into the upcoming November elections. And so that is what they did. Organizers of the ordinance spent all year gathering valid signatures here in Amarillo, telling people that the ordinance would help further ban the use of abortions here within the city itself. The gathering of the signatures was supported by Mark Lee Dixon and as well pro-life groups of Amarillo, such as the Catholic Diocese of Amarillo and Amarillo Trinity Fellowship Church, were keynote supporters in the gathering of signatures. It has also been stated that one signature was officially withdrawn from the petition. The city secretary also validated that there have been 6,300 signatures on the petition. However, I spoke to some citizens who said that they were unaware of the travel ban part of the ordinance whenever they had signed the petition supporting it. And that brings us to the city council meeting that happened on May 28th. Amarillo City Council met on Tuesday, May 28th, to discuss the petition to make Amarillo a sanctuary city for the unborn. The petition was validated on May 16th by City of Amarillo Secretary Stephanie Coggins. The meeting was to allow public discussion over the petition for the proposed ordinance that took over 7 hours long. Supporters of the ordinance wore red, while those against wore green. The council signaled that they would pass a version of the proposed policy that focused on restricting access to abortion-inducing medication for medical abortions and regulating the disposal of aborted remains, but did not agree to pass the travel ban section. City Mayor Cole Stanly has stated that he is pro-life, and this is true, yet he has run into criticism that his pro-life policy isn't extreme enough. This sense of extremism has even led to infighting among those who are pro-life. Of course, those who stood pro-choice were concerned with any further passing of anti-abortion or travel legislation. Even certain pro-life individuals stated the enforcement of this legislation is extreme and could impose greater friction among family and friends. Are you pro the ordinance?
No.
No. Can you tell me why, sir?
The abortion trafficking cannot be enforced. It is overreach. The ordinance has already been taken care of by the Senate Bill 8. Our local state of Texas has already passed Senate Bill 8, which is the Heartbeat Act, and it covers everything that the state needs to do. We're already a sanctuary city for the unborn. So I don't think any further ordinances should be put on, especially if it leaves a city vulnerable, to outsiders that may take exception. And plus, it turns a neighbor against neighbor to turn each other in because it's a civil right of action that they perform.
Okay, and so you think that the state legislature already covers enough, that this is a bit of an overreach?
It is. It's the exact same ordinance. It's the exact same laws, except for the fact that they want to deal with abortion trafficking.
100%. We stand in full opposition to any municipal ordinance that seeks to either duplicate or overreach beyond state law. Texas already has some of the harshest abortion restrictions in the state, and we don't want cities to go beyond that in any way.
Okay, do you feel the enforcement on this ordinance is just a little too extreme?
Absolutely. It requires, or it allows the opportunity for civil enforcement, which is neighbor upon neighbor, which only sows deeper division and mistrust within communities. That's not how we build healthy communities. And we think that they definitely have a larger political strategy. Amarillo is a gateway to New Mexico and Colorado, so it's a crucial access point for folks to be able to reach those clinics that still offer safe and legal abortion access. So we think this is part of a wider agenda to just take away as many abortion rights as they can for Texans and at a national level if they had the opportunity. It pivots off of SB 8, which also allows that bounty hunter framework. This takes the burden off of the criminal courts and allows it to be handled in civil courts. But ultimately it takes away personal privacy and puts situations where folks don't know if they can trust the people around them with, if someone's going through a difficult situation and needs to access an abortion, it only drives them to be more secretive about it, which increases the stigma and shame around abortion, which is something that our organization tries to work against. Abortion is normal, abortion is healthcare, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
So you said that you were for this ordinance until you heard about the travel ban.
I was a counselor at Amarillo College. I dealt with a lot of girls, date rape, incest, all of this. And I'm very pro-life. I very much support. I wanted us to be a sanctuary city. But when they added the travel ban, knowing these girls personally with these crises in their lives, thinking about them having to go somewhere by themselves and not be able to have a friend go with them, totally turned me off. Anytime you think about an emotional issue like that, if you want to get even, you could turn somebody in. That's not good. That's going to cause even more problems. It could even be another family member.
Any additional comments on that?
No, but I talked to several people who signed the petition that didn't realize the travel ban was in it.
Do you feel like they should have been more forward when they were about that? All right. Well, thank you very much.
I know from the beginning it was questioned, could we continue to have these types of discussions on such a polarizing topic and with passion from both sides where it wouldn't become intolerant? And we just continued as a community to come together and allow the other side to have their say and to show, honor and respect to one another. So I'm very proud of the community. And then, what is progress in there. It's slow, painstakingly slow. And we've got another public hearing, which means more public comment. But eventually we're going to get there. And bottom line, men, we're learning. It's okay to be at different places on this issue. And I know that this one petition put everybody either on the right or the wrong side for however you see that subject. And what we tried to do tonight was let's broaden that common ground where you can stand in the middle and still stand for life without having to be all the way to one, which, the biggest issue that I took, Stetson, was whatever the cost. You've got to do this, whatever the cost. Come hell or high water, you got to do this. Well, that's always a bad plan, especially when you're dealing with government. So always weigh the cost, always count the cost, and always make the best decision you can without risking everything. And ultimately, I think what we are trying to do is take away the risk of a potential lawsuit and the risk of violating anybody's liberties in the way of transportation or travel. Yeah, I think that the travel ban issue has to be removed, and that this is not about traveling. This is not about a roadway. This is not about a city limits. This is about aiding and abetting as defined by Texas state law. We were very clear. 171.208 defines it, and that's what we as a council feel comfortable working underneath. And we're hoping that the petition committee would be willing to amend in order to cite 171.208. I think you just have to know you're going to disappoint most everybody. It'll never be good enough. This topic will never be totally resolved. We will not bring about world peace in the council chambers, and we will also not bring about total unity on a divisive topic like abortion. And so can we be civil? Can we be respectful, honoring of each other? We've shown you that we can do that here, and this is the process that I love. And I love that I live in a community that's doing it. This is pretty voluminous. There's a lot to it. It's not just black and white. There's some things that are fairly vague, and then there's some things that are very specific. And so depending on which one you're citing, you can always argue your point. And so council and myself, we're continuing to learn at a rapid pace. But yes, there's always going to be an alternative opinion. And why would we ever need lawyers if we didn't have different opinions of what the state law means? Can we get that put in the edit for all?
Yeah, I got you, bud. Yeah, sure.
Why would we ever need lawyers?
Amarillo City Council will be hosting a follow-up meeting June 11th with public comment, which will be tomorrow as of uploading this video. And please follow High Plains Media News on social media to keep up to date with this developing story. And for those who are still watching, thank you for sticking around to the end. I know it was a massive episode. Well, that's going to be it for this deep dive of a story. A lot of effort went into the making of this episode, and I understand that this topic can be hard to discuss. If you want your voice heard, I suggest to all my viewers that you stay informed of ongoing events within your community, and to make it to your next city council meeting for public discussion. Take care, High Plains.